Welcome, race fans, to Pitside live at Adams County Speedway in Corning, Iowa. Also, welcome to you KCSI YouTubers out there, getting to see our lovely mugs on the screen here, and we really welcome you doing that too now. Starting to get more accustomed to that, so I had a little delay. Computer didn't want to come up and get the internet hooked up tonight, so I was a few seconds late there to get logged in here. So appreciate you hanging with us. But we are live racing for week 5 in a row, guys. It's kind of nice. Similar to last year, we rained out a few weeks, and then we just gonna start picking them off. And what an awesome nights we've been having. And boy, you talk about great weather tonight. It is so beautiful out there. The only negative I can think of is we do have a breeze, and it's blowing right at the grandstand.
I think this is our 4th week in a row we've had no clouds in the sky. So yeah, hopefully we can keep on that train.
Now, there was a chance of rain next Saturday, but
that's a long ways away.
You never know.
That'll change. So why even bringing that up?
Come
on, man.
Definitely looking forward to next.
Debbie Downer, come on.
Definitely looking forward to next Saturday for sure too, because we got late models coming in. But this week we got some sprint cars in the pits. Race fans, you can't really see. You can see a couple in the background there, but they're mainly over in the middle of the pits. But they are locked and loaded, and I'm ready to see some sprint cars because I missed the sprint car show a couple years ago here. So
there's about 16 of them I counted already, so it's going to be a great show. I know they had several down in Osborne last night. Not sure how it all finished out. I think a friend of mine, Lance, was pulling it up, and it was like 10:30, and he didn't even show any results for them guys yet. So I don't know what was going on with that. It might have been something to do with my race pass. But anyway, we're looking for a great show. You know, Josh Most was here last week with Rick Germer's car, and holy cow, are those things fast.
Yeah, they're loud, too. I don't know if they have a 410 in that thing, but
some of them do.
Yeah, you're going to see some
I know.
flying laps.
I talked about a little bit with just the rules and stuff like that. We'll hopefully have Cam Schaefer up here. He's their defending champion. He won last time they were here, but I think they run all different kinds of stuff. I think it's almost pretty much just run whatever you can do, and it's there's 410s, there's 360s, there's all kinds of stuff. So looking forward to it, and it's just something different. And I'm not used to seeing sprint cars around here. I know that I think the last time we've had a big sprint car show here is probably before I was born. So.
Yeah, I think the last time that I think I can remember is we had a 360 show down here, and I think it was actually on a Tuesday. Yeah, that was a pretty good show. Man, those guys were putting in some good lap times there. Oh, he's got a phone call.
We're off the air for some reason.
We're still live here on YouTube, but
I got a dial tone now.
When my dad was messing with the cord there, he kicked us off. So
yeah, I did. That's because somebody didn't get my cord stretched out long enough. So that's how we got that done. So let's try to dial back in here.
Great radio.
Yeah, great radio. But yeah, we're still here on YouTube, guys. So we'll talk a little bit about once we get back on the air here. But we're gonna keep talking about sprint cars too all night long. But we got some other.
Okay, we gotta leave a message after the tone. I love it. I hope we're live here on Pitside Live, everyone. We got you still on the YouTube channel, so if you can hear us, go ahead and send us some messages.
I know there wasn't sound on the YouTube ads because I was muted. I was just trying to go through some ads here.
Okay.
But
all right. I think
next
we're back
time, let's
going.
not hit the phone line.
No, I'll just make sure we get the cord set up right next time. So, hey, welcome back, folks. I do believe we're live again. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I love doing that. So, appreciate it, Lori, back in the studio, getting us straightened out. I think we've got things going. But like we were talking about, we have sprint cars here tonight. Looking forward to an awesome night. Had great races so far, 4 weeks in a row. Another bunch of great finishes last week. We got 4 guests that I know of lined up. I think you mentioned that Cam Schaefer, the defending champion of the sprint car series, is supposed to be here with us. So looking forward to that, as well as Dusty Shepard.
Kinzer's coming.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kinzer's coming. You guys will have fun interviewing him. He's supposed to be here pretty quick, I do believe, isn't he? So
Yeah, I told him 5:15.
our
So we'll
first
see
guy,
if he
so-
shows up in time.
So he's got 3 minutes. He's on the clock. And then Bryce Allen will be with us too. Another great sport mod finish last week. That was an exciting race too. So,
Speaking of Kinzer, there he is.
Oh, look at that.
so
Just hold on. But yeah, we had some really good races last week.
six.
We'll bring it up with when we talk to Kinzer, but we got a funny story about the amp too. That was
Oh yeah, that was a
We'll
was
tell
a
that here in a
highlight of
little
the
bit,
night, really.
but-
Well, other than the great race, but yeah, that was so funny that
But yeah,
we learned that you can overpower the amp
Yeah.
and it clips off, so like
Yep.
it's supposed to. So
I've never done that. So
Well, when,
it's better than blowing it.
when I get excited and turn into a WWE announcer, yeah, that'll happen.
it was an exciting one for sure. It was right there in turn 3 and 4. Man, they were like 3 wide and pushing each other up the track, and then John just got underneath there. But B-Mod feature again. I know David Swartz has been on the front row the last couple weeks, and he has been through about, I feel like, 85 caution flags so far this
Yeah.
year. So hopefully tonight we can improve our sport mod feature a little bit by reducing the amount of caution flags.
Yeah, it's just something, unfortunately, we go through. I talked a little bit last week after the races of what can you do, but when you have people trying to learn to race, unfortunately they will bring out cautions. It's just something they have to work with, and we all work with. So, it's just that's stuff we go through. So, and unfortunately a lot of times there's yellows. Just unfortunately sometimes that they're at bad times, and when a guy's leading like that, I know they don't like to see it either. So.
Yeah, we got a couple guests coming in here shortly, but it's something that's a tough subject to talk about, because we got guys learning how to race, and again, you don't learn how to race unless you get in the seat time, but it's a struggle, when there's a bunch of caution flags, because it ruins the flow of the race. So we're trying to get these races much better than what they have been here the last couple weeks. I know David Swartz talked to me last week. He's like it's just really hard when you're running up front, to save tire, because he's running as hard as he can because he's up front. He has no idea where these guys are at. These guys behind him are saving tire by running different lines, and then by the end of the race, when you've ran 8 different restarts, your right rear tire's gone. So it's very difficult to win a race when you're up front the whole race when caution flags keep coming out. And he's been doing a really good job of staying up front, but I do understand where he's coming from, where it's very difficult to win races when you go through 7-8 cautions a night.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough to win them from the front row, even if, that's the beauty of dirt track racing. You don't have spotters, so if you're up front running a line, you could be a sitting duck, and everybody behind you is running the top while you're running the bottom. So it definitely goes that way.
Right. It's definitely something that our drivers, are going to keep learning and working on, and the ones that are still learning, I know that's one of their goals is they don't want to bring out caution flags. I've talked to many guys in the past, and it's like it's embarrassing spinning out by yourself, because you're bringing out the caution flag, and then people start getting frustrated with you because you're spinning out by yourself and stuff like that. So a lot of the B mods, too, is it's just as much setup as it is driver. If you don't have that car set up right, it's very difficult to drive. With these modifieds, there's so many things you can do to them, and when you don't have it set up right, not only is it difficult to drive it, but it's difficult to learn because your car's set up so poorly that it's difficult to get it to turn. So But it makes it so much of a fine line too, where you go over the point of spinning out, go over that threshold point of spinning out. When the car is set up right, it increases your margin for mistakes. Because when the car is set up right, you probably see it even on iRacing. When the car is set up right, it's much easier to drive, and it gives you a bigger margin for error. So it's just something we're going to have to work on. But races, I've been. This is my second year announcing and stuff, and Cole will say the same thing. Our races have been fantastic this year. Last week again was another prime example of a racetrack that it had some moisture spots in it. It had some character in it, but other than that, I mean, it was another good racetrack last week, Cole, and we know how hard it is to take care of this place, and they do a good job.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, there was a couple grooves you could kind of run through the middle and run on the bottom. The top was a little. Some guys could get it to work if their car was working good enough. As you saw, Brock Badger was one slip up on the cushion away from probably winning the stock car feature, but just got in the crumbs there and lost her a little bit.
Right.
But you can't really beat when you have them 3 wide out of 4 for the win.
Tell you what, guys, let's take a real quick commercial so we can get our first guest in on here, and there's going to be just in and out here real quick, and we're going so we can get our first guest on here. So I don't want to hold them up.
Let us help insulate your home with Heartland Foam.
No matter what your insulation needs are, Heartland Foam Insulators is your go-to company. From removal to blow-in to foam, they are ready to go to work for you in any type of building, whether it be an existing house, new construction, a metal building, commercial building, or a unique project. Call Heartland Foam Insulators today at 712-623-4515 or heartlandfoam.com.
Welcome back, race fans, to Pitside live here at Adams County Speedway, as well as you YouTubers on KCSI's YouTube channel. We're going to have our first guest on here, and I also real quick want to thank once again Farm Bureau Elizabeth Davison and Aiken Building Centers. We can't thank them enough for helping us out here on Pitside Live. And our first guest, Evan, why don't you introduce him?
Cam Schaefer, driver 97 Sprint car, wingless. What's up, man?
Not too much.
Where you out of?
Little Canada, Minnesota.
Little Canada, Minnesota. So how north are you?
I think we're about 5.5 hours from home right now.
Gotcha.
Oh,
so, okay. So, what? Tell the people a little bit about yourself. What got you started into racing? What you're racing right now, and then we're going to get into this series here just a little bit because I got a lot of questions to ask you. But first, just tell the people just a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, so obviously from Minnesota. I've been racing for a really long time. Flat carts as a kid. Did that all over the place, and then moving to legend cars, won a couple national titles and that.
Awesome.
Did A-mods, IMCA mods for a while, and then got a sprint car opportunity and just kind of fell into it, and then been consistently
what
been
tracks
doing
did you
that.
start out at mostly up there?
You'd be like Alexandria, Minnesota, which is
Used to go up there with my family every year for fishing.
It's
so.
a badass place. So
Battle,
I grew up
Battle
just
Lake, Hatchet Lake,
Yep.
Ottertail Lake.
Yep.
Yeah, yep.
I grew up just out there on Lake Minnewaska.
Okay, yeah.
So,
yep, used to go up there every year. So
The land of 1,000 lakes.
10,000.
Sorry,
10,000.
10,000 lakes.
10,000.
You guys have 1,000. We got 10.
Yeah, exactly right. Glacier built them a little different up there. So,
Yep.
yeah, we have lots. I got a friend that has a resort up there too. It's that's a lot of Iowans go up there and either up to Okoboji or north. So and it's a great place to fish. Always have love going up there. So this series is you kind of where your bread and butter is now, or just
Yeah,
wherever,
we run this full time. They run like about a dozen shows a year, so it's a good fill-in schedule for us. We run another series up north with a limited motor, so that's like 450 horse. We're talking about like 830, 850 tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. So first, I want to talk about rules a little bit with this series. What do you guys run for motors, anything like that? 410s, 360s. What are you guys running?
So we're on an open motor rule and then open tire rule and everything like that, as long as it says Hoosier on the side of it and run what you brung. So honestly, it seems like a little weird that it would be that way, but there's some advantages to having a smaller motor. And there's some advantages to having a bigger motor, but most of the guys have 410s.
Gotcha. Well, around this place, you raced here a couple years ago. If I'm not, no, you've never raced here.
No, I've never been here.
Oh, okay. So awesome. So
no guardrail.
Yep.
So let me just back up here then. Never raced here. What's your first impressions?
It's big. And it's it'll be different with us. We get kind of flat out, and the cars kind of stall when they get moving that quick down the straightaway. So it's big. Like I said, it compares a lot to Alexandria to me. So I've ran that place a bunch.
And it's long straightaways, tight corners here, but we had sprint cars here a couple years ago, and it went pretty well for everybody. I know a lot of people are like, man, you're going to put a wingless sprint car on a half-mile racetrack like this. I'm like, well, these guys know what they're doing. So, but talking about, what are typically the types of racetracks you guys race at?
A lot more bouldering style. I mean, with the Winsdale last year, we did get on a couple half miles, but we'll get on some 3/8 and then some quarter miles. That's typically the flavor on a lot of non-wing sprint car stuff, but half miles are cool to hit once in a while.
I've been to a couple USAC shows over my lifetime, and it's something that I really enjoy because Knoxville is really close to here, so it's always wing stuff, and this is just something different. And tell me a little bit about have you ever raced a wing sprint car?
Yes.
So what are some of the main differences between wings, non-wings, the downforce, throttle control, all that kind of stuff? What are some of the main differences?
You're putting about 5,000 pounds of downforce in a wing car when you're rolling around, and it drives off the left rear a lot better. We're all on the right rear hanging. So, I mean, feel-wise, I'm more comfortable off the right rear because that's everything I've ever driven, and that wing car is a little bit different. It picks and it drives you into the corner, so you kind of hold your hands a lot straighter, where this, you set it to kill your speed and keep tire spin going.
Gotcha.
Oh, we had a local driver here, a gentleman from Red Oak that has a sprint car, and he brought it over here to practice, show it off a little bit, get the
last
fans
Saturday
pumped up, and it fast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you guys are fast
They
out
move.
there. So, and that's the thing, so obviously, I know you guys are looking forward to hot laps, obviously,
Yep.
to see what this thing's like, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it looks badass, so I'm kind of excited about it.
It's going to be, it's something that a lot of our race fans that have been coming down here for years. I've been talking to people during the week, and they're like we're really excited to see something that fast because we run IMCA rules and things like that. The fastest cars we get are super late models, and the super late models that we run are actually not the Lucas Oil super late models. They're still running a restrictor on them, so it's something that is going to be a little bit different, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys are going to be flying, man.
Yep, it'll be cool. It'll be fun for sure.
And we've had back in the day, World of Outlaws had a gum out series, which was like their entry level.
Yep.
And we've had those. We had those twice. We've had wing sprints here 3 times that I know of, and it's a lot of show. And like you said, we had wingless here. Actually, it was last year. I think we had.
It was last year? I thought it was a couple
maybe
years
it was,
ago.
but anyway, it was only about 8 of them. But it was fun to watch. To get people's taste to it. And I know we have a lot of fans that are hungry to see you guys. So.
Yeah, it'll be
Looking
cool.
And
forward to it,
I
so.
know I know we've been in talks with the series promoter and things like that. If it's something that goes well and the car count's really good, which I see it's pretty decent tonight. There's a possibility we could be doing more of this kind of stuff. So it's something that we're always open here for new stuff, and I know you guys will put on a show because sprint cars are my second favorite. My favorite is IMCA stock cars. I love stock cars,
Yep.
but sprint cars. I love sprint cars. I'm going to Knoxville in a couple weeks. So, but other things I wanted to ask you too, man, is so you've raced an IMCA modified before, you said, and moving up to a sprint car. Did you have to adjust your driving style at all? Did you just get in there and go? I mean, how much different actually is it?
The sprint car scared me to death, really, off of it, because it's so open, and it's just once you get in it and fire it off, you'll see the car twitch. They're just violent race cars, super violent. Where the mod, you're protected, you got deck lid, you got everything that kind of makes it a little bit more comfortable. You sit in the center of that thing, and it's scary.
Right, and
But just riding a motor.
Yeah, literally right in the motor. Drive shaft between your legs.
how many years has it been now in a sprint car? What's year number what this year?
I started in '08, so I'm pushing
Okay.
what, 13, 14
Yeah,
years.
you bet.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So you've been around a time or two. So I'm guessing this is probably is this the biggest racetrack you guys race at?
This
Pretty
is-
close.
Yep, this is going to be the biggest track that we
Okay,
race at.
that's what I figured. So,
So you guys raced 36 last night?
Yep.
You go down there?
Yep.
I heard about it, man. That was a long night for you guys.
Yep, pure stock plugged in the fence, and it took a couple
Is that
extra
what it
hours.
was?
Yeah,
Oh,
two
my.
2 hours for a fence
Well, we pulled it
fixed.
up on we pulled up results, and at 10:30 there wasn't even. I'm like, well, what? That can't be right. So I was wondering what happened.
No,
So.
I was sitting right next there, and I was talking with a buddy, and just look right, and there's pure stock right in the fence.
Oh,
plugged it
jeez.
right through there.
Wow, that's too
Well, and
bad.
then what was it? 2 hours for fix, and then you guys ran your first heat race at like 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Jeez.
Jeepers,
What
yeah.
time did you guys get out of there?
I think we got out at about 2 o'clock.
Oh
so-
man! And did you guys stay down there or just drive up here?
Yeah, we stayed down there and then slept till about 9:10. So it's still short day turnaround.
Gotcha.
but-
So do you guys like to set up where you can run 2 or 3 tracks in a row like this?
yeah,
Like
they
that?
have it organized great where we
Well,
try and do 2 or 3 in a row.
That's that's what we try to do here. So that's and I think
It makes
you
your
get
time
a better
more-
following too.
I mean,
so.
you're driving 5 hours,
Yep,
and then
yep.
to Osborne you're driving 7 hours.
Yep.
So it makes your time more. And that's great that they do that kind of stuff. So
That's
sure.
what they got to do because it just makes it efficient, and then
Right.
that's the way we can run all the stuff at the same time.
right, gotcha.
Well, I'll tell you what, we really appreciate having you come up and try to introduce this a little bit to everybody. We're looking very much forward to seeing you guys out there and see how fast we turn these things. So
Yeah, of course.
I got one more question. This is from Cole over here. So, have you ever raced a midget?
Yeah, actually, I have. So I raced Kenyan midgets a little bit, and then the guy that's parked next to us, our buddy Jeff, has a Badger midget. So I
Cole
shook
went to
that
the
down
Chili
this
Bowl
spring.
last year. I didn't get to go. I was so mad, but he's really into them midgets now. He went down to
Yep.
Chili Bowl. He sat in the rowdy section there, and
Okay, sweet, good times, good times.
but
yeah,
I know
I'd make a point
you know
to go down there. So
midget's just a smaller scale of this thing, man. I mean, it's so. Last question I have for you, so setup wise, things like that. When you're going around this racetrack, what do you think some of the things you're going to want to see? Are you going to want to see entry speed, kind of let off, then kick the car? What are you thinking?
You kind of gotta when you're carrying that much speed and you don't have the wing to slow you down. You kind of gotta kick it back a little bit before you enter. And so, I mean, I just want to see 2 grooves a race, and it seems like his bottom's going to be good. And then if it pushes up to a fluffy cushion, be perfect.
yeah.
Right. So we our track prep guy Logan, this is the dirt that we have on this racetrack is very old, and it takes a lot of work to do it, but we usually get nice and slick and flat. We've been slick all year long so far. He really believes in a dry slick racetrack because
well, our drivers prefer that.
yes, and it doesn't junk stuff, and when you're going this fast, it's a lot safer too
Yep.
when you get slick. So, and I know sprint car guys like slick stuff too because sometimes, especially with sprint cars, it gets choppy a lot.
Yep.
So, and we don't like choppy in a sprint car.
No, not one bit. That's not fun at all.
So, but we really appreciate you coming up here, man. Is there anybody you want to thank really quick? Sponsors, people you want to thank really quick?
Yeah, my buddies that haul me around, Scott, and then Brian Roach, and then KME, Frost Inc., everybody back home watching and supporting.
Yeah. So I'll tell them pull up KCSI on the YouTube old channel. They can watch this over and over again.
Yeah,
so
you can go back and
say hi
watch
to
it,
'em.
so-
yeah,
I'll forward it through the group
You
chat.
betcha. So I'll tell you what, good luck. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming. Thank you for coming up and being with us.
Thank
and,
you, guys.
We're going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll get back here with our next guest. So we'll be right back.
Since 1892, Malvern Bank has been building community from 404 Main Street in Malvern, Iowa. For generations, Malvern Bank has been serving local businesses, families, and farms to help them achieve their goals in every step of their lives. From saving for college to planning for retirement and everything in between, Malvern Bank is your full-service community bank, here to help as you plan for the next chapter of your life. Call, click, or stop in today to apply for an account, loan, or credit card. Malvern Bank, we build community. Member FDIC, equal.
furniture, appliances, mattress sets, lift chairs, bedding, recliners, and more. S&S Appliance, your hometown furniture store in Clarinda, just received a large shipment of appliances. They have a huge selection of stoves, refrigerators, chest freezers, and microwaves. And if you need a mattress set, they have them, plus bamboo sheet sets. They offer full service from start to finish with competitive price guarantee. S&S Appliance also offers delivery and installation. Stop by S&S Appliance on the square in downtown Clarinda.
This is Josh with Shore Motor Company in Clarinda. We want to be your GM dealer. We have highly qualified and trained technicians ready to work on your vehicle. Anything from recalls to warranty work and beyond, we are your GM dealer. Our service department is open 6 days a week for all your service needs. We even have an express lane for those no appointment quick oil changes. Visit our website at shoremotor.com to request an appointment or give Mike or Amanda a call at 712-542-6581. We are your GM dealer. Shore Motor Company, just south of the square in beautiful Clarinda.
Just as your local State Farm agent teams combine good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home and auto. And guess what you get? That's right, good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. This is your local State Farm agent, Dave Carball, and we promise to deliver the service you deserve at the price you want. My State Farm team will help you mix and match things perfectly. Call us today at 712-623-5639 for your surprisingly great rates. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back, race fans, to Pit Side live here on KCSI 95.3, 1080 KOAK AM. You're also here on the YouTube channel, and we got a fresh face over here. He's got some scruff going on down here. So we got old Catfish, John Kinzer. What is going on, my man?
Oh, not much. Just enjoying a nice Saturday evening here at the racetrack.
When we told you to come down here, we got on the doorbell camera, and we scared you a little bit.
Yeah, I never expect when that doesn't make any noise when someone talks to me. It kind of makes me jump out of my boots.
So, last week, man. So first, I got to talk about our story. So, okay, so you're coming out of 4. Well, actually, no. We'll back up. White flag. White flag's coming out. Cole's, talking or whatever, and we're going back and forth. You're going to 1, and Cole's like, oh man, I think he got beat. And then Kinzer slides up. Here comes Brock. Here comes you on the bottom. Shocker. So you're going down the back straightaway, and Cole's volume starts to raise and raise and raise. And then I'm talking at the same time, and we're starting to talk at the same time. And then all of a sudden, Scuba blows it up. Brock's right there, and then and then all of a sudden we start screaming at the top of our lungs. Checkered flag goes. Amp out.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be, as an announcer, supposed to be non-biased, but I mean, we've known each other since, early elementary school, even probably more before that. So
you were cuter then, weren't you?
A lot cuter. I'm pretty ugly now.
Yeah, I know. You've been working at this a long time, so I knew what that was going to mean to you when you came out of that corner, and oh man, I lost it. It was just one of those things you don't. It's not very often you get to see one of your good buddies get his first win. So
that's
yeah,
right.
I turned into a WWE announcer and was yelling at the top of my lungs and blew the amp out. So
yeah. So there's on those amps there's a safety thing that if it gets too high, it'll kick the reset off because it's too hot and too high. That's what happened. Burton had to come over there and help us out because we had no idea what was going on. So Cole runs down there and is getting ready to go do your interview, and he's like tapping the mic. He's like, dude, I got nothing. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. The amp is just it's junk. So
I was about to Patrick Mahomes that mic 100 yards.
And then you were like, dude, I gotta wait for this hobby stock feature.
Yeah, it kind of slightly ruined the mood not being able to do it right away, but it still had a lot of special.
You still cried like a wussy.
I did. Real men cry. So.
I cry all the time. So but it was something that the way it's been going this year, John, I didn't think you had a chance.
No. When we went and practiced and test and tuned up at Stewart, new shocks, different setup, It felt really good. You know, they just put fresh dirt on their track. And then you come down here, and it's completely different. Starting off the year with an 8th and 2 7th when I know I've got a car that's top 4 weekly, disappointing. Thought about taking a couple nights off, trying to regroup, try to figure out what our problem is. Thought about maybe trying another track. Maybe I needed a side of change. I talked about Harlan Saturday and kind of just changed my mind. And
Well, then you put a for sale sticker on there one time too.
that was all Bubbles. You know, he came around, you know, one night and just slapped it on there. I seen it and just thought I'd leave it on there as a joke. And
I was wondering. We were like, "Whoa, hold on here. What's going on here?"
Everybody was asking me about it, and I kept telling them it's for sale, $70,000 for a roller.
That's the I don't want to sell it price.
Yeah. For the people that don't know, I live with him. He's my roommate. So every night that he has a bad night, he comes home, comes through the door. I'm selling everything. It's going to be on Facebook Marketplace tomorrow. I'm done. He's been saying that for the last 7 years, but, you know. So
You're an old man in a young man's body.
I saw the sign on the car, and I'm like, oh, man, maybe he's actually being serious about it this time.
No, that was just a big joke. But, you know, we won the heat race last weekend, or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I shouldn't have done it, but I changed something. I was looking for a little more in the car, and I went the wrong way. And we went from starting on the pole to getting 7th. And I was frustrated, throwing shit after the races, and sorry.
Bleep.
Sorry.
Yeah, bleep.
But then last weekend, you know, I messaged Luke Lemons. I copied his setup pretty much to
And
a
for the
T.
people that don't know, you are running G-Force chassis that Luke Lemons.
Luke Lemons is virtually the house car driver for him.
And he'll be at Stewart this weekend. So if you need to go up there and watch him, he is a fantastic driver.
Very fast driver.
Keep going.
And between him and the owner, G-Force, Craig Gretz, you know, we got the setup completely different, something I've never ran before, trying to get our shocks to help out the car a lot better, and we finally got it nailed. The heat race was great. The track was starting to slick off, and there at intermission, they box bladed it, brought some moisture up, and then kind of just was a dominant bottom side, kind of hammer down track, and we had 1 and 2 nailed down, and we kind of 3 and 4 we struggled all night. I'd have to kind of get on the binders. Scuba was getting loose out of the corner.
You were tight. You were tight through the center in 1 and 2 a lot, and it was hard to get the car rotated. But when you did hit your mark, you had good exit.
The way the car, it's got so much bite in the car and so much rear percentage that
that's the way Luke drives too.
Yeah,
so
you virtually have to drive it into the corner like an A-mod. If you don't have it set and you try to go in there, slow down, it just gets so tight you have to chase it up the racetrack. And I know one of them restarts, it got super tight, and I about pushed Badger off the track, but I couldn't. I was trying to get off the throttle on the brakes. I couldn't stop it from pushing up there, and luckily he gathered it back up, and we had a great finish to the end there.
I mean, so as you were coming into 3 there on the last corner, you see Scuba go up the track. What was your gut reaction there?
To be honest, going halfway down the front stretch, I thought, wow, I just blew this. You know, probably had the best car out there Saturday, and I'm going to end up 3rd. And then went in that corner. I don't know if Scuba hit a rut or something.
He just
tight.
Way too hard. He just blew it in there. So.
Well, I
seen
think
Badger and maybe tried to block him on the high
that
side.
That too, yeah.
I think he saw Badger and was focused on him and didn't realize you would drop back a little bit. I think he thought you guys were still 3 wide. And
right, but the one time I hit 3 and 4 perfect was the last lap when it counted and came to the checkered, and I was screaming so loud, I think when I passed the flag stand, I lost my voice for a few hours after the race.
Did you lose hold of the steering wheel? You were probably like...
I might have blacked out for just a few seconds. I was pretty pumped up with joy there.
Well, I got to ask you, so 1 and 2, there for it was about the last 10 laps. You were tucked up underneath Scuba. It looked like we were saying earlier, he was struggling out of 2 a lot. You kept seeing him having to hit the brakes or his rear end would step out. And he was holding it tight because I think he knew that you were right on his bumper and had a car to pass, but he was doing everything he could to keep you behind him. Was there any thought to maybe try to go around the outside, or were you going to try to wait till the last lap and make something happen?
I knew there earlier on that restart, the middle just quite wasn't there. I couldn't get as good of a run off the middle there. I kept following him. I kept seeing where, he was messing up a little bit, and on that white flag lap, he messed up enough that he finally gave me a car length to get in there, and we made some contact. I'm sure he's probably a little upset about that, but I was going to do everything in my power to get that first feature win. And
Yeah, I see. Like in my viewpoint, you made a little bit of contact, but you also, you had about 10 opportunities out of 2 to give him a bumper, and you didn't. So you raced him pretty clean that whole race until the last lap when it was just kind of a free for all. So I think, like I've heard, I think he kind of understands that he was doing everything he could to keep you behind him, and you were doing everything you could to get around him without dirtying him up too bad. So.
And I thought it was pretty clean racing there. He still, I thought, had a good chance of winning, and I thought it hurt me the most because I fell to third. And then
I've been watching you for a while, John, and you've always been the type of guy too that you lift really well, and you're not a dirty driver. And I've seen a lot of guys in the past, especially guys at our age, we get very impatient. We typically will typically are the last guys to lift. So you do lift a lot, and I know I've talked to you too. You actually get frustrated at yourself for lifting.
Yep.
But sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, and it's been 7 years, and this is your first ever win, and I would have done the same thing, man. And I know every driver down there would have done the exact same thing you did.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would agree. Every year it seems like I can put myself in a position to win a couple nights, and it seems like I always give more, and I always hurt myself more than anyone, and it costs me.
You give more and take less, right?
And I've kind of just thought, with how bad we've been doing, it's kind of time to turn up the aggressiveness just a little bit, just to hopefully
crank her up a little bit.
Yep, just keep the good.
So the next thing I got to ask you too is this tire situation that you run, man. So these were 4 tires. These were scrub tires, by the way. These were not new Hoosiers from old Chubbs, right?
Chubbs. The right front, right rear, and left rear were all takeoffs from Chubbs this year, and the left front's been the same thing on the car for 2 years.
Right, and you don't. And Lance Swartz is the same way when he raced. You don't run new tires because a lot of these people don't know. What are they now? $160 a tire?
150 to 175 depends on where you go.
Right, and you're running scuffs pretty much. So that just shows that you're not the type of guy that spends a ton of money on racing because you just can't afford it right now. But that I feel like that is what makes it so much more rewarding and better when you actually won last week because of what you are actually spending and putting into the car, and the motor that you have in that thing was sitting in my neighbor's garage for 2 years.
It's kind of just a cobbled up motor to get us through the year.
Yeah.
And it's been impressive so far. Mid-state, they've always been good to me these last 6 years. I will not go to anyone else. John, he's got customer service next to none.
There's a lot of successful guys that run mid-state too. So
he just builds, I think, the most budget-friendly and probably the best motor out there. Almost everyone in the Midwest right now virtually runs a mid-state machine motor.
A lot of your big stock car guys run mid-state. Murdy's run mid-state. You got guys down here. You got all the open guys. Chubbs has an open mid-state. Whenever you think of open motors, you think of mid-state machines. And John Davis is a longtime supporter here of the Speedway. He drives his modified down here from Altoona. That's impressive. So what you got?
Well, so last week you made a bet with your crew guy Bubbles, Dalton, that if you won, he'd get you a new tire. So are we going to have that new tire on the right rear? Man, the speed you had last week, now with a new tire, you might win by half a straightaway.
He doesn't want to ruin it.
He originally bet me 2 tires, but with the cost of tires, we settled on one.
This is your first new tire of the year, right?
No, this would be my 3rd and 4th. We got 2 new rears on for tonight.
Oh boy!
Uh-oh.
If we start getting up in the features, so
better look out. He's gonna be coming through the pack like Kyle Larson at North Wilkesboro.
Bryce Allen's over here like, geez, if I put one of them tires on, I'd spin out every time.
They're good till you start seeing cords. That's my rule. That's my motto. Once you see cords, you probably better throw them.
He
away.
won last week with those tires, so just but seriously though, there's a lot of guys that are talking about running scuffs. Just because tires are just ridiculous. It's just black gold pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but it's just that more impressive, John, and I was really proud of you. I know Cole was too. He was tearing up there too, and it was just. it was a lot of fun, man, to see you, and then you burn her down on the front stretch too. So
I did.
That was awesome.
I was.
And then Billy gets on the receiver and goes, Kinzer, we need you to calm down. There's only 10 of you. We don't need you to blow the motor. We need you back next week.
Yeah, well, the emotions got the best of me, and it didn't matter at that point. You know, I
burn her down, man.
I was dead set on burning her down.
Man, I tell you what, I told myself before the night, I was like, I'm going to go straight home after, not going to stay out late.
Yeah,
And
we all know how that went.
After he won, I'm like, oh boy, I think we left the track at 1:30, and then we stayed out.
Went to a friend's house, and
stayed out until 3:30 in the morning. We may have been walking on the road back home. That's allegedly.
It was a good night. It was a celebrating night for sure. And then we had a foot race in the pits too, and
yeah, you crashed.
Cole took off, and Kinzer face planted. So
his tires.
I used all the tires for the burnout.
I mean, you just went straight to the floor.
Left.
The old Skechers didn't have enough tread on him. He was hitting cords.
So, but we gotta get some other guests on here. We could talk to you forever, man. But who do you want to thank really quick? Sponsors, people you want to thank for this win, man.
First off, got to thank my mom and dad. Without them, I wouldn't have a shop to work in. My dad's helping me all the time in the pits. He's here. My mom's always videoing the races. I'm sure she'd be able to to just sit there and watch, but she always goes live.
I'm sure she's always a nervous wreck too.
Yeah, she always videos, so it was emotional for all three of us. They got the same amount of time in it as I do, and they've helped me out financially at some points. And we got Bubbles and Tucker. They've really Tucker especially started to help me out. I kind of struggle.
I'm waiting for him to get a car now.
I struggle with a little bit of back pain and shoulder pain, so get someone else in there to help me take care of some of the heavy lifting's been great. Bubbles started out, he's been hit or miss, and this year, he's starting to come down and help out. And we got Mid-State Machine, obviously. King and Donahue family, they've been with me since day one. They've been there 7 years, and they were happy to see me win. Donahue, he's got to double my sponsorship now that I finally got a win. So
good.
I just got to get that.
That's
out
how that
there.
works, right?
Get some garage with Jared Lund, my uncle Bruce Cross, Midwest Spray Team. They've been with us for a few years. They're one of our bigger sponsors. We got Western Hour Racing results on there. We thank them for getting all the results out there on Facebook and helping get some of these tracks, get their name out there. Oh boy, we got the Alzheimer's awareness, wrap.
That was the best appearing car last year.
For, Grandma Joyce, she would have been ecstatic.
Oh yeah,
down here and
the purple people eater around there, man.
She's helped me since day one. My first 3 years of racing wouldn't be possible without her.
Yep.
You
gotta thank Luke for the chassis too.
Yeah. Luke Lemons and Craig Gretz, they've always answered my questions. They're 10+ hours away, and I message them, call Craig. When he can, he'll answer, and they'll always respond back to all my messages. And I feel like I'm forgetting some people. But
are you going up tomorrow night?
No, I'm not. I'm camping, so I'm going to enjoy time with family.
Gotcha.
Well, and we can't forget old Tyler Schaefer.
Yep,
he got
Tyler Schaefer helped me get some springs, for the car. Also got to thank King Equipment Rental. If you need stump grinder or skid loader or dump bed, he's your guy to call. Numbers on the phone or numbers on the car, and we post about him on Facebook all the time. And
yeah, I mean it's just awesome to see you win. Hopefully there's many more to come, but the monkey's off your back now, so you don't got to worry about it anymore. So now just drive, man.
Yeah, I was there for a while at the beginning of the year. I just thinking maybe it just was never going to be. I was going to have, I don't know how many years I got left doing this. Everything's just getting so expensive. So getting one out of the way, that's just, if I don't get another one, I'm happy just to get the one. And
you said, I'm taking this trophy no matter what. Even if I'm illegal, man, I'm taking this trophy. I don't care.
I told Gary, I said, you can DQ me and take the win away, but you're not getting the trophy.
So, all right, John. Well, we'll get you going here, and good luck tonight. You got some new Hoosiers on the car, so good luck tonight.
Yeah, well,
so,
thank you. Thank you
for
having me.
We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back with another guest here on Pitside Live.
Too busy at work to wait in a long line at Subway? Order online at order.subway.com. Simply register with your email and password and order away. You can also download the Subway app on your smartphone. Order up to 6 subs, salads, or pizza. Ready in 15 minutes once order is submitted. Also add chips, cookies, and drinks easily. And Subway's back to normal hours Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Order online at Subway in Red Oak, Clarinda, Shenandoah. Best Finish Auto Sales and Service is proud of the quality used vehicles they sell and their dedication to serve the needs of their customers. Whether it's your first purchase or one of many that you've had, you can count on their dedicated sales staff to make the best buying experience possible. They also offer financing on your vehicle purchase. Best Finish can also take care of your service needs, from oil change, brakes, alignment, air conditioning, to any body shop and repair needs. Stop by Best Finish Auto Sales and Service at 209 Sharp Street in Glenwood for all of your vehicle needs. Feeders Grain and Farm Supply in Corning, representing the most recognized and trusted brands in the industry, as well as locally sourced products. Stop by and see a full lineup of Purina products to handle all of your livestock needs. And if you need Sioux steel gates, they've got you covered. Browse the store and they're confident you'll find what you're looking for, or they'll order it in for you. Feeders Grain and Farm Supply in Corning, supporting all of 4-H and FFA members. That's Feeders Grain and Farm Supply in Corning.
Welcome back, race fans. Pit Side live here on KCSI 95.3 and KOA K1080 AM, and on the YouTube channel as well. We got a new guest here, last week's feature winner in our Floating Vine Compacts out of Malvern, the 23. It's Dustin Shepard. What's going on?
Not much.
First thing I got to say, I got a text from Dana Stevens. She says, referring to you as King Pappy.
Oh, God. Dude. No.
Inside joke?
Started at I-80, I think.
Gotcha.
I'm
So
thinking. No, it was after King of the Hill last year. That's
so that might stick. King Pappy, the 23 car, Dustin Shepard.
Thanks, Dana.
Okay, so you've been fast all year. One night you had some bad luck, but you and I know Destry Jarman, you guys kind of go together. You got the beautiful the white cars out there. You guys stand out.
Yeah.
But you've been fast all year, and last week, what was the difference, man?
Just found the right spot on the track, that line, and stayed in it, and it was
away you went, right?
Yeah. Car was doing good.
We talked to Andrew Akers the previous week, and he really had to stick his line and things like that because people were hot on his horse. You were out front by a little bit of ways, so you had a little bit to work with there, but on those restarts when you're up front, what are some of the things you have to do in a compact, because these restarts in these compacts are like just pure chaos. I mean, you've got automatics, that are shifting when the car wants to shift. You've got 3 speeds that, you're shifting it whenever you need to shift it. It's just like, what do you have to do?
Well,
is there a secret?
I don't know. Yeah, I just hear you guys talk about us fanning out before we come down the front stretch. Well, when you have an automatic in front of you.
That's what I'm saying.
You're in second gear. I mean, I'm revving up, I'm hitting the rev limiter before I'm onto the straightaway before I'm shifting to third gear. So if I want to keep that speed up, that momentum, I got to go out around them. So if I got the opportunity to get around them on the outside before they're even getting up to speed, I'm going to do it. So if I get out front, then a lot of times I'm gone.
One thing you do a really good job of, like you said, is, and you probably notice it too, is on restarts, you get to that outside and you have way more momentum than others. You time it very well.
Yep.
A lot of these guys, don't time things very well, and then either they miss a gear or something's going on. I do have to ask you with Destry, he those couple restarts he wasn't going. What's going on?
I thought, don't put me in the wall, because I barely had any room to get around him on the outside right there.
Well, what was going on? He wasn't even.
We thought he had a bad transmission, but the transmission cable actually came up out of the holder on top of the transmission.
Oh, great!
So whenever you're trying to shift it, it's not doing nothing because the cable's just moving with the shifter. So we got that figured out.
So you are running an automatic then?
Me?
No, you're running a manual.
I run a 5-speed.
Okay,
Yep.
5-speed. So do you prefer that?
That's all I've ran, and yeah, I think it's better than the automatic. I mean, especially on the starts.
Gotcha.
The automatic, if you can keep up the momentum around the track, not get slowed down, yeah, they're fast. But if get to where you're losing that momentum, I mean, it takes them longer to build up that speed.
Yeah. Now, on those restarts, when you guys go 4 wide, I mean, does that get your heart racing, or are you looking all around, making sure nobody's coming your way, or do you just look forward and try to get to where you're going? And
I look forward, try and get out to the front.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I always, there's times you have guys that are getting up to speed a little bit faster than whenever you're starting, so you got to be prepared for them trying to get around you. I mean, you can't really try and block. I mean, because you can't tell who's coming up. But.
Yeah.
It's it's something where you've had speed the last couple of years for sure, and you seem to be right there each and every week. And what's the difference some nights between you winning and not? What seems to be the difference?
I guess not driving smart, not picking the right line. Like I should be up higher. I'm down here. Don't notice where the other guys are driving. They come driving around you because they're up high. That's where I should be at. Just basically my own mistakes. I mean, it's not the car. It's just didn't choose the right spot to drive around track on.
Yeah, so we were discussing with David Swartz. We were talking about when a leader's out front, and when you're out front like that on a restart or just through the race in general, you're kind of a sitting duck. So do you ever find yourself trying different lines just to see if something feels better, or if you're running up front, you just stick to what you're doing?
Well, I race my race, but then you see a nose down to the bottom of the track. So you think, like this is what happened why I would lose the lead sometimes, because I see that nose down there, John Berg or Xander Steiner. Then they're running down there. I'm going to go down there and through 1 and 2, try and block them. Well, what do? They come around you on the outside.
Right.
So
they do that on purpose.
Sometimes you don't want to change your line. If you run up front and you're staying there and you're fast, keep that same line. That's what my brother Brett told me that. He said, "Yep, you're up front and
former sport mod driver here, so
you're not getting past. Keep that line."
Do you prefer starting up front, or do you prefer starting towards the middle and then working your way? Just for the sole fact that you find out what works and what doesn't, or does it just depend?
Depends on if everybody's driving smart or if they're out there debating each other around.
Right.
If they're debating each other around, no, I don't want to be back there because then that's not get caught up in it. I prefer to start up front at that point.
Gotcha. So Brett's run a sport mod before. Is there a plan, or do you want to move up? Do you want to stay where you're at?
I had a sport mod and raced it for a few years, and basically it's expensive, so I got the opportunity to race that car, and I like racing.
Sounds like you're happy where you're at, man.
I love to race, so if I'm doing what I like to do, and I mean, it's cheaper class.
That's right.
I used to not even like watching them, and now, I mean, I enjoy it. Once you get in one, it's a lot different than watching one on the track.
Yeah, whatever it takes to get the job done. So
yeah. It's a little different around here. We say it every week, but
and it's
you guys are actually going fast
here.
Yeah.
I feel faster here than whenever I'd go to I-80. I-80, I don't feel as fast as what I do here at Corning.
Gotcha. So, but Dustin, I know you're probably running for a points championship this year. You're trying to knock off John Berg, and you've been really consistent this year. Is there a little bit of different mindset going into this year? Are you just trying to go for wins? Are you trying to keep the car underneath you?
I want to finish consistently in the top 5.
Right.
I want to get the points championship. I mean, I'm not going to go out and if I can't get the win, I at least want to get the most points I can get. I'm not going out to wreck, but I'm not going out to wreck somebody else to try and get to the lead.
Now, tell me a little bit about this too. So, was it last week you said something about a wedding?
Yep. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We're getting married tomorrow.
You're getting married tomorrow. Well, congratulations. Yeah. And I'll tell you what. Smart man.
Yeah, that's some good planning. Do it on Sunday, not Saturday.
I don't know how many times I've had friends that schedule weddings on Saturdays, I'm like, I ain't going.
Hey, I even said we can have the wedding during the day and let's go racing at
night. No reception. The reception's on the racetrack.
Yeah, we'll do it afterwards.
Do a little bit of dancing in 1 and 2.
Right, but it's that's dedication right there. But congratulations to that.
We planned it because all my family comes in from everywhere on Memorial Day weekend. So
No.
It's a good time to have the wedding whenever all the family's here and nobody's making a special trip to come up here. They're all coming up here.
And you don't got to work
Man.
on Monday too. So
He's got his thinking cap on. Yeah, that's smart.
yeah, and it's Memorial Day, so it's very smart. So, who are those people you need to thank really quick? Sponsors? Anybody you got right now?
Yeah. Well, first I want to thank obviously my fiance Carrie. She's been with me through all this racing and puts up with it. And there's a lot of times I don't get inside till 9 o'clock at night, and I expect her to be mad, but she's not. And then, but my parents, like my dad, I work out of his shop. He's got the lift in there and everything. My brother Brett, he helps me, or is always willing to help me. Sometimes, I'm like, I got it, and he don't really. I mean, he's still ass and everything. My buddy Matt, he's always in the pits with me, always helping me. I'd like to also thank, I got Snap-on as a sponsor this year, Leggy Snap-on. He's out of Blair. He does the route around Council Bluffs and stuff. I got Sublime Collectibles, which is out of Logan, Iowa. It's he sells, like, collectible stuff, Matchbox cars, stuff like that.
Awesome.
And then I got, I can't think right now.
Well, you're doing a good job.
We got Patty Fudge, her decal on my car. She's made my stickers. She makes shirts. She makes tumblers, all that type of stuff that you need.
Sorry, I'm playing footsie with you down here. My bad.
And she's really good at it. She makes sweatshirts, T-shirts, everything.
Awesome.
Other than that,
I
don't know, my brother-in-law, Dustry, 69.
Yep.
He helps if I need something. He helps me. We work good together. He's a good teammate, and glad he's in the car with me.
He's improving quite a bit too.
Yep.
He jumped in there, and he's right up there, man. He's looking for his first win too. But
yep.
Well, Dustin, we appreciate you coming on the show. We wish you good luck tonight. Hopefully, you'll talk to me again here before too long, huh?
Yeah.
All right, race fans, other driver, the number 23. That's Dustin Shepard. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with you.
Subscribe to the KCSI Radio YouTube channel today. Interviews, parades, events, contests, and more. Subscribe to KCSI Radio on YouTube and get notified every time something fun happens.
What if we could harness the power of the sun by using the earth to transform the way we use energy? Water furnace geothermal systems are simply the most efficient way to keep your family comfortable. Winter or summer, day or night, rain or shine, without burning fossil fuels, giving you the freedom to focus on life.
Call Camlin Mechanical or visit camlinmechanical.com for your water furnace needs today.
Welcome back, race fans, to Pitside live here on KCSI 95.3 at Red Oak, and here on the YouTube channel. We are at the top of the hour, and that is our station identification. We really appreciate the family over there in Red Oak, the West family, and Jerry for letting us do this. Lori back at the station with our technical difficulties earlier. We really appreciate it. So another new face here, our B modified winner from last week. He had to work for it too. Bryce Allen, what's up?
You know why I'm here.
Yeah. It was a workout. We talked about it early on the show about all these caution flags, and we talk about all these guys, that are bringing up cautions. It's a fine line between learning how to race and then, again, bringing out cautions. And when you're deep in the field or deeper in the field like you were, it's more beneficial than a guy like David Schwartz who's out front. And you've been in the other way around many a time, right? And you're running a lot harder when you're up front. You're wasting that right rear tire a lot more, and you were just right place, right time last week.
Absolutely, and Schwartz still, I don't know if I had got him, but he saw me down there, and then he moved down, and he was too tight to run down there, and I was pretty good down there, so it worked out.
Exit-wise, we talked to Daniel Bowdler, 3 weeks ago. You and Daniel are the same on the exits. You guys are stronger than everybody else on the racetrack on the exits of the corners. What's something? Have you changed something this year? Is there something different? But I mean, you're just like a rocket off of each corner, and you pick up a lot of ground.
Yeah, I mean it's the same car. I mean I've tweaked it a little bit. I've still got my crate in. I'm supposed to have an open any day now. I prefer to run the top. I really do. But the car likes the bottom, and a lot of people are leaving me a lane down there, and so I've been making it work and learned how to get it down in there hard and woed up and pointed back straight.
And I always say with every other class too is if you can run the bottom efficiently here, it puts you leaps and bounds above everybody else, because a lot of people like to run the mid to top here because of the high momentum. But when you can really get down there on the bottom and rotate your car and get it through there at high speed, you're picking up a lot of ground on guys. And last week, was a prime example. I think David talked to me there after the race, and his right rear tire started to go away, and he was starting to spin a lot, and he was rolling through the center, and then he saw you and tried to move down, and he told me the same thing. He's like, I couldn't run down there. So, but you've been in those situations before. I remember, I think last year, you were close many times last year, and just something seemed to happen. So it had to feel good, man, to finally just, have something go your way for once.
Absolutely. And yeah, there was a lot of nights last year that I didn't win any races last year, but there'd be a lot of nights, you pull up my race pass, and I'd turn the fast time of the night, like a lot of nights, but not consistently. And that's something that I've tried to get better at myself, is turning consistent laps, because then you're there at the end. If you go out and turn the fast time and the next lap's a half second slower, I mean,
what's the point, right?
You're not going to be there at the end.
Yeah, that actually brings up something I wanted to ask you. And I've noticed a lot over the last couple of years. It seems like you always kind of start about mid-pack. I think just because you always finish well, so your averages kind of put you there. And it just seems like every time we come into the last 5 laps and just out of nowhere, here's that 16 car catching the leaders, and you're a closer. I was going to ask that. It seems like you put in consistent laps and you just slowly chip away at the lead, and it just seems like every week you're right there at the end battling for the lead. So
sure, and I'm super patient in the car most of the time. I try to be. There's some times that I don't go as hard as I should on the start, and that's because I don't like doing extra work on the car that I don't need to do, and spending extra money. And, it's enough work to run well anyway. When you start tearing things up, then you're less focused on making the car faster, because you got to fix it before you can,
make it
just
faster.
to get back to where it was.
And Rice, you've been around here a time or two now that you've kind of developed a little racing family down there. You park next to Sank and Weston and all those guys, and I know some of those guys probably got you started down there too, but you're one of those guys now that is always right up there. How much of that is you as grown as a driver, but how much has it been, just getting help from all those guys?
Oh, it makes a huge difference, and when you're having issues with a carburetor or an engine or a transmission, when you're having problems. Well, it's like anything else. Maybe the guy next to you has had the same issue, or maybe he knows where to look, or has a fuel pump, or has something with him that you can borrow for a night, and that's huge.
I know it's something. So, what number of years is this for you now?
11, I believe.
And you have all of them been in a sport mod?
Yes, I started in a sport mod, and yep.
Okay, so, and I can remember when you first started. I remember you were down here, and you were always very consistent. But just in the last, I'd say 5-6 years now, you're really one of those guys now that is. One thing I really like about you is, like you said, you don't overdrive people. You're very patient. You don't run over people. You're like he said, you're always there at the end. You put on a good show, and I sit. We stand next to the Weston crew over here, but sometimes you make a mistake and they're over here like this, doing this and things like that. So, but
Yep.
I just remember all year last year. I remember I'm like, man, Bryce, again, man, it's just like bad luck. Last year was a long year, wasn't it?
It was a long year, and like I said, you can turn fast time, but if you go out and hit, like last year, I know one night I hit the infield tire, trying to run the bottom, and you hit the infield tire, you think you're going to, and you hit the brakes, and you spin out the next week, and you go back to the tail. Well, you can't do that kind of stuff and expect to run well.
And there was a couple nights I remember, I think last year, you were out front a ton, and then a caution would come out. And it was like David last week,
Yep.
He was out front by a long ways, and a caution came out. And I tell drivers all the time, it's like, yeah, it might be frustrating for you that night, but look, it benefited you that night. You've been on both sides of the equation now. So I always tell drivers, it's like, you know what? Sometimes it just doesn't go your way.
Absolutely.
And like, David, if there wasn't cautions that flew last week, David would have won that race.
For sure.
I mean, he was way out in front. He just ran out of tire, and unfortunately, that's just how it is sometimes. And I can remember, I think probably a couple times last year, Bryce, where you had the same situation. There was one time I think you were almost a full straightaway ahead. Caution came out, and then Austin Paul got you.
Yep.
So, but it's just sometimes it's just better to be lucky than good.
Every time.
But you are consistently down here every single Saturday night. Are these fans going to see you any other place this year or anything like that?
I don't know. I mean, it takes a lot of time and stuff to run here consistently. I like going to Stewart, but Wednesdays are tough. That's the way it is.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe one of these Sunday shows we might try to run up there quick. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I didn't really have my heart set on this point deal because I usually, miss a night or two for farming, and we had a great spring, and Mother Nature gave us the window to get our things done.
Yes,
and,
she did.
It's here we are leading the points, and so I guess we probably better focus on that.
So you don't have a choice now.
Well, I always tell drivers, it's like, you're not thinking about points until you're leading points, and you're like, well, maybe I should go for points.
Well, it's just like with John that we interviewed. He was thinking about quitting. Now he came back home. He's like, man, I can't wait to run the rest of the season. So
that's all it takes is another win or another good run, and makes it fun again.
It's like golfing.
It's just like golf.
Put it next to the pin on 18. You're like, well, coming back tomorrow.
Time for another round. So, but that's the addiction. That's what keeps you coming back, and I really like it when I'm down there interviewing and I see new faces, especially a guy like you who's been running a long time here. Didn't get a win last year. I was just happy to see a guy like you in victory lane because, no offense to all these drivers that win a lot, but it gets really repetitive when I talk to the same guys over and over. So it's really good to see new faces, and last week was a prime example. We had 5 first time winners this year last week. It was awesome. So we wish you luck again tonight, and it's 3-way point average this year, so there's no rowdy draw. So again, you're going to be starting. I mean, you're point leading. So
good. Get that Schwartz move back off the front row.
So I gave David crap last week. I told him I said so he started on the front row at Stewart and won. He started on the front row at Corning 2 weeks ago and started on the front. I'm like, dude,
started on the front row here and blew up the first night of the year.
I'm like, you are a front row Joe now.
I've been giving him all kinds of static, but it's all good fun.
He's a good dude. So, but who do you want to thank really quick? Sponsors, people you need to thank really quick before we get you out of here.
I got to thank my wife and my mom, Mark Allen Drainage, Nottoway Valley Equipment, my brother Brayton, the Wookiee family, Bergeron Farms, Climax Cattle Company, Belt Farms, B&T Trucking, that knucklehead Josh Most at Edge Chassis.
He's driving a sprint car tonight. So I heard you had an opportunity to get in one of them.
Yeah, I passed. I think we'll focus on our deal on that. Go from there.
Could you imagine though driving one of those?
Oh man, that's got to be wild.
And then getting in your sport mod, you probably feel like you're under the caution flag, probably going.
Right. I heard part of the guy's interview earlier. He's like, being strapped to the engine, and I'm like, I'm sure it probably is.
Oh man,
that's about.
These guys are going to be flying, and it's awesome. We got 16 cars checked in right now.
Good.
I mean, it's a great car count for them sprint cars, but make sure you watch it if you get a chance.
I will do.
So, but good luck tonight, and hopefully you can maintain that points lead all year long, and we'll see you at the banquet at the end of the year. But we wish you luck, and hopefully you can talk to me again tonight.
Thank you.
All right, race fans, other drivers, 16A, it's Bryce Allen. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with you here on Pickside Live.
Even if it's been years since you graduated, your college team is your team for life. Well, you can have a Farm Bureau agent for life, and auto, and home, and business insurance. Imagine that. One insurance agent for everything. It's that simple. So get a Farm Bureau agent for life.
Contact Farm Bureau agent Elizabeth Davison in Clarinda and Shenandoah at 712-621-2878 for all your insurance and financial needs.
Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Property and Casualty.
Are you interested in starting a career instead of just getting another job? Well, hop on over to Fresco System USA and let us help you find the one for you. We offer competitive wages, benefits starting day one, and so much more. You can pick up an application at 2026 Fernwood Avenue, find us on Indeed, Better Team, and Facebook, or call 712-623-8100, extension 6659. Spring into action and join the Fresco team today.
Welcome back, race fans, to Pitside Live. Back here with Cole, and we're going to have our next guest on with our series here tonight. I have Pat Deutscher on here for he's our announcer. I'm sorry,
That's all right.
I got to get myself back to going in gear here after taking a step out here a minute. So, welcome, Pat. You're the announcer for the series, and we talked a little bit off the air. And Jackson area, you're actually now from.
I'm from Round Lake, 25 miles down the road from Jackson.
Round Lake, Minnesota. So, we had Cam on earlier, and I could get that little bit of Minnesota. Get a little bit of that, yeah. So it's like, and then the people down here think we have a southern drawl. So you
do talk differently. You might not know it, but you are. But it's not as thick as the guy last night at Osborne, Missouri.
Oh yeah,
Ricky Stiley, his name was, I believe. He introduced himself. He says, I'm originally from North Carolina. I said, I couldn't tell.
Well, I chuckle because my son graduated from Northwest Missouri in Maryville, and I did too. Okay. And we were both teachers at first, and we used to have to video ourselves and watch ourselves, and I would watch myself. I'm like, holy cow, I sound like I'm from the deep south living down here now. I'm like, right. I got quite a twang down here in northern Missouri.
That's acquired.
So, yeah, it's funny. So we talked a little bit off air. You're a former teacher?
I am a retired social studies teacher. I taught social studies in Worthington, Minnesota, half hour down the road from Jackson, for 30 years. But I've been, as I told you off the air, my grandpa and my dad took me to the Jackson VFW Speedway in 1965. I was 6 years old, and I never got over it. And I've been just a passionate fan ever since. And several years ago, Bill Mellenburnt, that's an old racing name if you're a little long in the tooth like I am.
Right.
He was a sprint car driver that he formed a non-wing group back in the early 2000s out of Sioux Falls called the Heartland Racing Association. And they had a race in the little town of Canby, Minnesota. booked, and my brother and I went up there just to watch. And we're wandering around the pits before the races, and my brother yells over at me, "Hey, Pat, you want to announce tonight? Their announcer is not showing up." So I did some PA work at my college that I went to. I did all the PA for college basketball, and I did all the PA work for our high school basketball team. So I was not afraid of the microphone, and I always wanted to announce races. And ever since growing up listening to Tom Savage, that's something I wanted to do.
Absolutely.
And he kind of was the gold standard. Well, anyway, I said, sure, I'll try it. And at that night after the races, Bill Mellenburn came up and said, "You want a job?"
So since 2000, more or less?
Yeah,
you've been
early
pretty much doing this,
2000s. I've been,
yeah,
and then the HRA came and went, and his son Brett Mellenburn got this wins the Western Iowa Non-Wing Sprint Series going.
Sure.
Last year was our inaugural year. I believe we had 9 races, I think, and got it going, and it's been just a heck of a ride. So I've started with Bill, and now I'm with Brett, and I'm loving every minute of it. I just love being at the track.
Another quick thing off air you talked about this series starting. Cam mentioned a little bit, because Evan asked him what he runs, and you said too, it's like a kind of a run what you brung series.
It is, and I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure if it was going to fly. I don't think anybody was sure how it was going to work, but a bunch of us got together at the Pizza Ranch in Storm Lake, Iowa, a couple Novembers ago, and there were some promoters there, and there were car owners there, and there was just fans like me and others, and we just kind of hashed out some ideas, and Brett said, I think we ought to go with open motor rule, and that's we took the leap of faith.
Yeah.
It worked out because our fields have been pretty strong.
So yeah, and it has. I know we talked to Cam a little bit about Osborne last night, and I think he had 20 cars down there.
We had 26.
26.
But our contingency was a little light because it was so far away from a lot of our guys, and they were working on a Friday. So, but tonight we're in good shape. I think we got 16 tonight.
You said they had a little tough luck last night with one getting wrapped up in the fence.
Well, a stock car.
It was a stock car.
It was a pure stock.
Okay.
And it was their first of 4 heats they were supposed to have, and on the first lap, a stalker rode up on the guardrail between 1 and 2 and stuck his nose through the fence. The fence tipped over. He stuck on the guardrail. And 2.5 hours later, we were racing again.
Quite a repair, quite a repair.
It took him an hour to get the car off the rail.
We had, I can't even think of the year. It's awful, but I've grown. I'm like you. I've been here since I can remember. But we had first time we ever had sprint cars here. Kind of got the Knoxville. Terry McCarl had a group, and we brought him over here, and I was all excited, and I got myself all worked up, and then I get here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys are so fast. And it's like, I hate to see one of these in the Grand, And
that's right.
I ended up taking a ride in the ambulance that night. Oh, seriously, yeah. I'm like, I got myself so worked up, but we had the biggest crowd we'd ever had at that time. We were completely full, and at that time too, that's what the catch fence you have now is like. We're going to change this thing too, because I'll tell you what, that is a massive catch fence we have now.
Yeah, I tell you, the speeds we're going now, you have to upgrade your safety stuff. I like the fact, this really reminds me a lot of Jackson when I was a kid, because we didn't have fences on 1 and 2. If you went off, you were in the soybeans or the corn, depending on the year.
Sure.
But I always thought that was safer. Having a runoff area rather than running into stuff.
Yep. And we'll have that. Looks like he's doing soybeans this year, so and you can get some aerials of us, and you'll see just big rows out there. I mean, just
we had one out there last week.
Do a little modified cultivating.
It's funny when they go out in the corn, and then they'll come out and they're just corn all over the track. It's just so funny.
I think was there a year that Chris Speaker went through the corn and he came back into his pit? He had a whole bushel in his cockpit.
It was. It's just. It's just hilarious to see, and the fans love that too.
Yeah,
and but I know Cole. We've talked about this a lot, and I talked off the air on this. But he said this reminds him of Jackson before they shortened it.
And they shortened Jackson,
and and we talked about how half mile is for some reason it's like becoming extinct for some reason.
And I keep hearing that they're really tough on motors, and I've been hearing that. But then I talked to Bill Mellenburn about that, and he said, no, he said, you gear it right and you drive it right, you're going to be fine.
Yep.
So
and
there's-
we're usually dry slick. I mean, that's what our
Right.
drivers like, and it's that's the thing. So
yeah, it's
crate
not
motors
it's
seem
not
to
going to be a heavy track where you're
Yeah.
flat footing it all the
Yep.
way around.
Yep, exactly right. And see, back in the day, it seemed like that's what a lot of it was because,
Yep.
We didn't have 100 cars a
No.
night back then,
No.
and it was maybe 40, 50, and that
Right.
track stayed pretty tacky the
Right.
whole time. So,
Well, I remember the old VFW boys that were in charge of Jackson. I'd go over to the track on a Wednesday night and they were watering for a Saturday night race, and that had a base of water. And on a sultry July night, it would just ooze out of that track.
I remember as a kid, we go out there after the races, and you could feel your feet stick
Yeah,
to the.
you could
that's
take your
how
shoes
tacky
off.
it was.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
And we had 2 classes of cars, 3 heats of trophy dash and a feature in each. And
Yep.
that was it.
Yep.
So you didn't get a million laps on
Nope,
it either.
Nope. Cole, any questions? I'm doing all the talking. So.
I'm just excited to see these guys out here. I'll be the first to admit I grew up a door guy. I was always if it doesn't have doors, I don't want to watch it. But when Kyle Larson dropped back down in the sprint cars, it kind of opened my world a little bit to him.
Yeah.
And now I went to the Chili Bowl, saw some midget racing, and now it's just I'll hop on Flow Racing if there's a non-wing race, just anything. I just love watching it. So I'm really excited to see these guys out here, and the skill that this takes.
It's a whole different animal than the
yeah.
wing thing. Even it's very much different from your door cars, but I think
they call them the box cars, right?
Yeah. There's some things we call them that I won't say on the air. I don't want to get in trouble.
Everything has that slang to it, doesn't it?
Are we covered by the FCC?
Yeah, right.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know how accurate it is, but I do a lot of iRacing, and they have the non-wing sprint cars on there, and I fired one of those up, and I haven't touched them since because just how hard they are. It's just incredible what these guys can do.
I was talking to a guy that has never raced with us before, but he's from Knoxville, and I believe his name is Jonathan Hughes.
Okay.
He's. I said, "You run with a wing over at No, I'm a strictly non-wing guy now." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I'm better at it than everybody."
Really? Wow.
So, but anyway, he said with a wing, it's kind of a big equalizer.
Yeah.
And the margin between being good and not so
Yep.
good is really thin with a wing. This kind of a track without a wing will separate the men from the boys.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. It's kind of like the dry slick. Everybody loves dry slick, and like they say, tacky track. Everybody's fast on a tacky track, but the dry slick evens them out, and that puts it into the drivers. That puts the drivers' hands.
I watched an interview with Roger Ward, the Indy 500 winner from California, and he said he loved tough tracks. He said easy tracks, everybody can be fast.
Yeah, exactly right. It's so true.
Yeah, so
it really is. So, we're looking forward to it. Like I said, you guys have been in Osborne. How many races have you guys had this year so far?
This is our second.
So last night was the first night out.
Right.
Then. Okay.
And 3 and 4, third and fourth race will be next weekend. We've been invited to join the USAC National guys at Knoxville.
So you're going to be there next week?
Oh,
I'll be there next week. Saturday, I think.
Well, I'll see you there. We'll see you there.
Good. And I'm just going to be a fan because it's a USAC National race, and they're not going to let me announce. So.
Iowa Lottery, I get Iowa Lottery updates, and they put out a big special this week, discounted tickets for Friday.
Oh.
So I bought 4. So it's the only
Good.
chance I get. And believe it or not, race person I am, I have never seen sprint cars at Knoxville. I've only seen late models over there. But seriously, I just haven't had the opportunity to get over there because we race Saturday nights, and and so I said, man, we got to go.
And I think they're running the 410 wings. Too.
Yes, we are. Friday night, I think they are. They're running the 360s Saturday. There are 2 different series running with them Friday or Saturday. So so very much so looking forward to it.
You'll really like the way they back them in on that big track.
Yeah.
With
Watched it on TV many times over there, but I've never seen the sprint cars. Only late models I've seen over there.
Yeah, I think is it the Corn Belt Clash they have up there? Is that I've seen some videos of that non-winger. Oh my.
That's something.
Those guys are.
That's something special.
They're different in the head. Those guys are. They have no fear. It's crazy.
Since I'm not announcing, I'm bringing my wife and my daughter. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she just loves this sprint car stuff. And Brady Bacon is her guy.
Okay.
She likes Brady Bacon,
Yep.
but she loves Emerson Axum.
Okay.
That's my guy.
Because he's cute and he's 17 years old and she's 16.
Sure,
And my
sure.
goodness gracious.
Sure.
So I got to keep her under control next week.
Well, you know, our tickets are all the lower GA, so we can sit wherever we want. So hopefully we'll get to see you over
Yeah,
there.
I hope
So
I run
we'll be
into
over
you.
there.
Very
We'll
good.
probably be close to the flag stand somewhere, I'm sure. So,
Yep.
But I tell you what, Pat, thanks for coming on the air. It looks like it's the 6:30 hour, and as people can hear, starting to see some cars come out there, and we're pushing some wingless out there too. It looks like
better
so.
go do my job.
So we're gonna go out there and tell you what, folks. Thanks for tuning in to KCSI. Pitside Live, as well as the KCSI YouTube channel. We'll be here next week for the Ray Houck Memorial. Looking forward to that very much so, Cole. Be another huge night with the Super Late Model Series here. So, tell you what, fans, thank you. Thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to Lori back at the studio for helping us out again. And we'll see you next week on KCSI Pitside Live.
Thanks, Cliff. That was good.